This is part two of our teaching that we're doing today, and we left off in our last session in the Gospel of John, chapter 14. And again, excuse me if the wind is causing too much interference here, but hopefully we can get this in that you can hear me okay. But we were talking about the fact is that one of the aspects of this chapter here of John chapter 14 is Yahushua is wanting us not to be troubled. This was written not only for the apostles or the disciples, but it was written prophetically for us, the church today and the day that we live. He's telling us not to be troubled. Now this matches 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 verse 13 through 17, where the apostle Paul was talking about the day of Yahuwah, or the day of, and it's a day of wrath. Again, it's not one 24-hour day as we think of, but it's a time frame involved here. And Paul, or Shaul, is making mention of the fact that we, as the body of Mashiach, will be caught up before this event takes place. And then he says, "Wherefore comfort yourselves together with these words." In other words, we are to be comforted by the fact of knowing that before this terrible time frame comes upon the earth, and by the way, it's such a terrible time frame. I don't think most people don't even realize when they start talking about, you know, that we're going to have to go through the tribulation and so forth. They don't even really know what kind of what a terrible time this 7 years will be on this earth. In fact, if you really do study through the book of Revelation, you know, one of the things you'll find out is that really about a third of the world's population will die in the first 3.5 years of this 7-year time frame. And you know, that means that about, say, 2 billion people or more will die in the first 3 years of the tribulation. Now again, there's no comfort in the fact of knowing or thinking that the church, or the body of Mashiach, is going to go through this time frame. And people who believe that don't really have the whole picture of the or an understanding of the whole plan of Yahuwah. What they've done is they've taken certain verses, like over in Matthew chapter 24, and we're not going to go into that whole chapter there because we'd have to go through all the verses to really do an extensive study of that. But they'll take one verse where it says, right here it says immediately after the tribulation, and then it goes down about one shall be taken, the other left, and so forth. You know, you can clear all this up real fast if you realize that the whole chapter there, Matthew 24, is not talking about the body of Mashiach or the church. It's talking about Yasharel, or the nation of Israel. It's talking about at that time frame, and all those verses have nothing to do with the church. So if you understand that, you won't get your theology mixed up, because you've taken one verse out of context and then built your whole foundation of your theology upon one particular verse. So we're to look at the scriptures line upon line, precept upon precept, and really, as I've said before, the scriptures, you know, the plan of Yahuwah is like a jigsaw puzzle that you put together as you study the scriptures. And if you get one piece of the puzzle, you know, mixed up and put it in the wrong place, it's going to throw everything off as far as the whole picture or the plan that Yahuwah is trying to reveal to you and I. So, now, I want to again mention the fact is that this is a message of comfort. It's a message of hope. It's a message that the enemy is trying to distort and try to confuse people. There's no other thing out there that's so confusing to most people than the second coming or the rapture of the church. Now, Yahuwah's, that's not his plan or intention. He wants us to know and understand. But the reason I believe, one of the reasons I believe that this is it's so deceptive and it's so harmful to think that the church is going through the tribulation is this right here. Is if you believe that, then you're really not being prepared by alerting others of the fact is, say even in your own family or friends or whatever, the seriousness of the time that we're living in. Because here's the thing is, if you don't know, if you're thinking that we're just going to gradually ease into this tribulation period, and if you're not really prepared, in other words, like the rapture would happen, and you're not really looking for the rapture to take place, but you're just looking for, say, the Antichrist to be revealed. You know, by the time you get along in that process, if there was no rapture, you know, then there would not be this urgency to be prepared, as the Mashiach told us to be prepared. He told us to watch, and that he was coming as a thief in the night. And if you're not prepared, and if you're not looking for his immediate return, then you're not really prepared the way you should be. But if you're thinking that he may come today or tomorrow or just at any moment, then you should be prepared, that you're ready to meet him. Not only yourself, but others that your family, your friends, or whatever, that you convey to them that he could come at any time. But if they think that, you know, that we're just going through this period of 7 years and things will just gradually get a little bit worse or gradually get bad, and, you know, people will eventually wake up, you know, there's a real danger in that, because I'm telling you, the rapture is going to happen. And once that time frame happens, or that moment happens, then there's no reversing it. If you're here left on the earth, or people that aren't prepared, then it's going to be a horrible time. Now, I believe that people will be saved during that time frame, but I don't believe that it's going to be an easy time frame for that to happen. I believe that they will go through a lot of persecution. In fact, it's going to be that if you really truly put your faith in the Mashiach, it seems to me, if you read through the book of Revelation, that you're going to have to pay with your life, and that you will, you know, suffer by giving up your faith, because the fact is the Antichrist is going to require you to receive his mark if you're able to buy and sell, and if you don't, then you're going to be beheaded. So it's going to be a terrible time frame. A time frame that you don't want to be here. That's why you want to be prepared and know that you know the Mashiach, that you're born again, and that others in your family, your friends, your relatives, or whatever, are also prepared and ready for his coming. Thank you for your time today, and we'll get into. I'm going to get into some verses in the Tanakh of the Old Testament, which are revealing even the rapture in the Tanakh. A lot of people think that there's no verses in the Tanakh or the Old Testament about the rapture. And we're going to talk about some of those. So thank you for your time today. I love you. Tell others to be prepared, because this day is coming very soon. It could happen any moment. Shalom.